I always ask that if you have a telephone or electronic device, that you either turn it off or put it on vibrate so it will not disrupt our meeting. Sarah, now we'll have roll call and determination of quorum.
Mr. Peterman?
Here.
Mr. Servan?
Here.
Mrs. Karcher?
Here.
Mr. Galvry is absent. Mr. Mills?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Jester?
Here.
So you have 6 present. You do have a quorum.
I thank you very much. In front of you, you have an agenda. Is there any additions, deletions? If not, I'll entertain a motion and a second to approve it.
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman? Mr. Servan?
Yes.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of approving tonight's agenda.
Commissioners, you also received the minutes for May 12th, 2022. I know you've had time to read and look them over. If there's no corrections or deletions or additions, then I'll ask for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes.
Mr. Servan?
Yes, to approve.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of approving the minutes of May 12th.
I thank you once again. You also have in front of you the levy court action for the commission recommendations. They had 2, and they almost followed our directions, so we'll see what happens with that. If you have any questions, you can see staff later or sometime during the week. Now we're going to enter into old business first tonight. The old business is something that we tabled, so what I'll do is I'll read it and then I'll ask for a motion to bring it off the table. This is actually CZ-21-04, LC-21-15, Snake Creek, MXX LLC, request to amend the zoning map from AR, Agriculture Residential, to IL, Limited Industrial, located outside the Growth Zone Overlay District. And as I said, it's on the table, so I'll now entertain a motion to bring it off the table in a second.
The motion, bring it off the table.
Second.
Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes.
Mr. Servan?
Yes.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of lifting application LC 2115 off the table.
This application was actually heard last year in the month of October or November. I can't remember. I think it was October it was tabled in. And there was quite a bit of discussion. In fact, on my old minute notes here and all, there was roughly 20 people that came to the microphone either for or against. It's been tabled, like I said. Now we brought it off the table. I would ask, first of all, is there anybody here to represent this application? I've got a couple questions. Please come to the mic and give us your name. Sir, we don't have anybody to swear or affirm. Can you do that?
It's not a public hearing.
Okay, it's not a public hearing. So I just got a couple questions. Just give us your name and address, please.
Okay. I am Zach Kleptowski. I live at 696 Statenville Road, Harrington, Delaware.
I thank you very much. I have a question as what has changed since you was here last? Has anything at all changed? Have you looked for a new location or been able to obtain it, or what's going on?
We got some sound testing done, and I have it here. If you would like me to hand that out to you guys. I'm sorry it wasn't presented before this.
Is it part of the stuff we already have?
This is, I don't know if it was emailed to you by Greg Scott, but I have a copy here with all from the sound testing. You got that already?
There were 3 documents we got from Greg Scott that the commission has.
Okay. Then that is probably the exact same thing I have then.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think it was the sound as much as it was the zoning when we got talking before. I will ask, does any of the commissioners here have any question for this individual? Any at all, or Mr. Davis on the phone?
No questions.
Go ahead, Mr. Peterman. Do you have a question?
Have you made any changes, improvements, or anything since you talked to us last?
Started to build a sound wall with mulch and other stuff around the whole thing, just kind of a dirt wall that's about 10 foot tall. Just trying to build it around the front and around the houses and that stuff. But other than that, no significant changes have happened, nothing. No significant changes other than, trying to make the sound a little better and directing the track in a few different ways. But nothing, big has changed that, we would increase any noise or do anything. Just kind of trying to mitigate what we can and make what we have work.
Well, that a lot of us has already been there to see it anyway, most of us in fact. But does any other commissioners have any questions? Mr. Servon?
Yes, I have a question. How long has this track been used?
I started coming here in around 2008, and I was told it's been here for almost 30 years now. On the extent of what it is now, it hasn't been that level till around 2008 or 9 when I first started coming here.
And where's the next closest track located?
The next closest track would be 3.5 hours up towards Budds Creek, Maryland. They have a very nice track there, but there is no other tracks in Delaware. We are the last surviving motocross track in Delaware. All the other 3 or 4 have closed down in the past few years.
Do you have any idea why they've been closed? Just business?
A lot of it was when the recession hit. A lot of tracks closed down then, and then after that there was a few lawsuits that were dealt with badly at the track in Newcastle, and the other one was just got sold and turned back into a car track and just kind of just died out a little bit in the area, the whole motocross scene in itself. So we are the last surviving piece of Delaware motocross here.
All right, thank you.
I actually got to see how the extent of people that come there. We actually had a motor vehicle wreck in Felton a month or so back, and the gentleman was bringing his son down to ride there, and he was out of New York.
Yeah, I remember him showing up too. He left his license there that day as well.
Yeah, I know. I felt sorry for him and all, but, it was what it was. So I appreciate it. If there's no more questions, I thank you, sir. You got a question, Mr. Mills? Go ahead. Comment, go ahead.
I'd like to say that I was one of the ones that gave you the extension back 6 months ago. I voted for the extension. And the reason I voted for the extension was because kids have got a right to do whatever they want. It's a shame to take anything away from what kids want to do. I don't care what it is, what sport it is. If they want to do it, I think they should be able to do it. Whether it's riding motorcycles, riding horses, playing baseball, playing basketball, whatever. I think we should give an opportunity to kids to be able to do that. However, in this case, we're not taking it away from the kids what they want to do. We've got a land zoning problem here. And of course it's got to be changed. Now at the time, 6 months ago when we came to see you guys out there was talk, and I'm going to say only talk, that the county in some way would change the ordinance in agriculture zoning to have conditional use for racetracks. Now, like I say, that was only talk. That's not this body of group of people to do that. It has to come from another part of the county functions there, not from us. So that we never heard no more from. I don't know what happened to it, or where it happened, or where it fell through, if it ever got off the table. I don't know, because like I say, it's not this body's operation to be able to change the ordinance and change conditional uses. The only thing we got here tonight is the same thing here that we had back 6 months ago. You follow what I mean?
Yep.
I hate to see the kids lose it, but I don't know what else we could do. if we can find another place. So that's what, possibly may work on.
Thank you, Mr. Mills, and I thank you, sir, for your comments. I'm going to open it up now.
All right. I
Okay, thank
appreciate
you.
guys.
Open it back up to the commissioners. Any more comments, Mr. Davis, or anything? If not, I will entertain. It's not a public agenda. I only asked him up because I wanted to hear what he had to say. Being it's not a public meeting, sir. It's just for us to do our business. We just had specific questions for him. Now open it up to the commissioners.
I'll make a motion.
Would you make the motion, Mr. Mills?
I move that the Regional Planning Commission recommend the denial of the ordinance LC 21-15 Snake Creek MXX to amend the zoning map from AR Agriculture Residential to IL Limited Industrial, located outside the Growth Zone Overlay District. This is based on the staff's recommendation report dated October the 7th, 2021, the public hearing testimony dated October the 7th, 2021, and the findings of the fact that A, the surrounding area is predominantly woodlands and agriculture fields with spread residential lots. B, the noise and traffic associated with the industrial use are not compatible with land use in the low-density residential area that are predominantly used for agriculture, forestry, and low-density residential. C, the proposal LI zoning district does not conform to the 2018 comprehensive plan. D, the subject site does not fall within the transportation facility, water and storage system, storm drain system, and fire suppressant facilities are available or planned.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman,
Yes to deny.
Mr. Servon,
I vote no for denial of the ordinance.
Mrs. Karcher,
I vote yes to deny. I want to make it clear that I'm voting specifically because it's a rezoning. And we cannot have IL in the middle of that area. I know that area. I know that track. And it just, since it came in front of us, many years it didn't, but since it came in front of us, it has to be rezoned. I can't vote for that in the middle of agriculture.
Mr. Mills,
I vote yes. Yes to deny, based on my motion.
Mr. Davis,
I vote yes to deny. It really troubles me that we hadn't had a chance to get this thing worked out. I truly understand. There was discussion about trying to get a zoning for this type of activity, but apparently the county got so tied up with the solar issue, it never came up. So I don't blame the county because they was pretty busy with the solar issue and they were still dealing with that. There is definitely a need for this. I just can't support when it's attached to IL because that sets a precedent, and we will then have other people come in have industrial, and that's going to create a major problem. And the other thing is that I don't know if they really convinced me that the mufflers are going to work. It's a sad day for me to vote no because I'm like Commissioner Mills. I think with the young people need a place. And I would only hope that the county will take this seriously and in time trying to find a place they can go. But at the present time, I just cannot do it because there's a lot of public opposition. I was reading all the names that do not support it. There were some people that did support it, but there's a lot of people that does not support it. And I have to kind of go along with Mr. Mills's his motion, so I do not support having it there. Thank you.
Mr. Jester,
I also vote yes for denial. It's nothing against you gentlemen. It's nothing against the sound and all like that. It's all about the IL zoning in the agriculture area. So I vote yes to deny.
So you've got 5 yeas, 1 nay in favor of recommending denial of ordinance LC 2115.
We now go into new business. We only have one application tonight under new business. It's CZ-22-05, LC-22-13, Shahari LLC. Request to amend the zoning map from AR Agriculture Residential and BG General Business to BG General Business located outside the growth zone overlay district. They were here last week. Nobody else spoke against this or for it or either way. And we think it's the right thing to do because it is a split zoning at this time. So at this time, I'll turn it over to commissioners if I'll entertain a motion. Denise?
I move that the Regional Planning Commission recommend approval of ordinance LC 22-13 to amend the zoning map from AR Agricultural Residential and BG General Business to BG General Business located outside the growth zone based on the public testimony dated June 2, 2022, and the findings of fact that A, the character of the neighborhood is predominantly a mixture of highway, commercial, and general industrial uses centered on the intersection of Forest Avenue and Pearson's Corner Road. B, the proposed zoning district is in keeping with the surrounding area. And C, the land use strategy map 7-C of the 2018 Kent County Comp Plan indicates that the subject site be utilized for neighborhood commercial purposes. However, the land use chapter of the comprehensive plan provides the compatibility with surrounding land uses and availability of infrastructure should have equal weight on evaluating rezoning applications.
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Servon?
Yes to approve.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Mills?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Davis?
Yes to approve.
Mr. Jester?
Yes.
So you have 6 yeas in favor of recommending approval of ordinance LC 2213.
Thank you and good luck with your project. We're now down to public comment. Anybody here would like to say anything? Anybody like to say anything? If not, we'll go into commission comment. As long as it's not about any projects we've talked about tonight, sir, you can talk about something else. We're now down to commission comments. Commission comments, no commission comments, then I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
I have a motion and a second. Sarah, call the commission.
Mr. Peterman?
Yes to adjourn.
Mr. Servon?
Yes to adjourn.
Mrs. Karcher?
Yes to adjourn.
Mr. Mills?
Yes.
Mr. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Jester?
Yes, and thank you all for coming.
Good night.